Hello fellow space engineers, Gopescope here from the Gopescope gaming channel, and I'm happy to welcome you to episode 4 in our Let's Build the Oberon series. In this episode we are going to be taking a look at the construction of a hidden hangar door, as well as building out some more of the hull around the ship, but I have some unfortunate news. I have reached that point that was not totally unexpected, where my rig is no longer able to handle the build that I've undertaken. So until I get a better computer, or Space Engineers is optimized further, this will have to be the end of building the Oberon. But that doesn't need to be a permanent end, just a stop, hopefully, that later on we'll pick up later. So, enough sad news. Let's jump right into what we're doing right now, which is building out the forward-firing weapon system of the ship. And here I'm just testing. I wasn't sure when I was putting it together whether or not you could fire them independently from the rockets on the turret, and that's pretty easily accomplished with timers, although with the updates to functionality for weapon systems, I believe you can do it without timers also. Now we're just building some outriggers. I was constructing the rear sections that have a lot of the thrust, and decided it looked a little too spindly to just have the center kind of corridor area that's connecting the forward and the aft sections. And although the outriggers that I'm building aren't particularly large, they provide another layer of defense for those sections of the ship that they cover against incoming fire, and kind of give a look of support to the ship, where you have a lot of the thrust in those sections. Just in terms of physics, if torque was actually applied, which it's not in this game, you'd want to have a way of transferring the forces in a non-destructive manner. So it's just a way of making it look like perhaps the forward thrust has some more to push against, I guess, to push the ship forward. So what we're doing now is just kind of building the top and bottom out, and then adding some top thrust to the forward section here. And I'm using that same kind of look that I've been so far for this Battlefleet, Let's Build a Battlefleet series, which is to add blast door blocks in a sort of connection kind of looking way between engine areas and the rest of a ship. Also adding those on the sides here for these outriggers, just to kind of give it an interesting look more than just flat armor, because we already have a lot of that on this ship because it's a large vessel. You can see we built some of the retro thrust on the rear section there as well, and I'm just kind of adding more armor to that section, just like I have in some of the other areas, just building out some protection around the thrust. So now we're at the bottom layer, and basically I'm building this out the same way that I built the top section. So again with the blast door blocks and some of these kind of intermittent supporting sections. So when I was trying to figure out how to build a hidden hangar door, I was thinking about the possibilities with pistons or rotors, and either way I think it's important, if you're going to really hide something, to think about building a ship, or at least part of a ship, where you'll have a lot of different sections that look the same, and just one of those sections, not all of them, actually is the hidden piece. So between the top and bottom we actually have 6 sort of repeating patterns, or sections of a repeating pattern, that all look identical. So they don't look suspect to be a door, I don't think anyway. And so as I'm checking these out, I'm just looking at kind of thinking about how I can get the mechanism working underneath, whether it's rotors or pistons, and also thinking about how I need to build the blocks around these blast doors, which eventually will be the hangar part, or the hangar door part itself. So I'm doing these angle blocks. This actually doesn't have anything to do with the hangar. This is just, I liked the dip in. I like the play of angles there better than the flat armor blocks. But you'll see in a moment I'll be flying a ship in to see just how large of an opening I need, and what size opening is reasonable. So I borrowed a Void Corp space superiority fighter that we'll be seeing in a Void Corp episode pretty soon, and checked out the width and length of the opening to see if it's a reasonable size. So here we go. We're going to fly in, and sure enough, it fits. So I wasn't going to build a hangar that could fit like a big shuttle or something, but just a ship that size, and that will work. So now I'm just going to link up these rotors, so I have 2 of them for stability. And doing this is pretty simple. If they're this close, all you need to do is drop the displacement all the way back and put a couple of pieces out like I did there. And if you tried to line them up straight on without building them out and turning one of the rotors, you wouldn't be able to place those blocks together. But if you angle one out, put a merge block in, you can basically twist it back like you saw me do, and then they will link up together. So that's kind of how that's at least how I found to do it. There might be different ways. So now that we have those connected, we have a pretty sturdy pivot point, and also a way to propel the door up and down. And as you can see, I'm kind of hiding that mechanism in one of those arches. So that's part of the reason for the arches. I also just aesthetically think it looks better to have something like that breaking up the lines in a long section rather than just having, you know, a continuous flat piece of armor or a continuous flat section of blast blocks. In this case, it happens to also provide some cover and concealment for the hangar door mechanism. So now you can actually start to see it coming together a little bit, where we have the blast door blocks back and looking a little more concealed. Now I have to play with this a little bit to figure out how to get these blocks to all connect together the right way so that they move, but also so that they don't damage the blocks around. And at the same time, make sure that the outside is still looking just as hidden as before. So now we have them working that way, and you can see it'll open and close. And now I've just repainted the blocks, and we can look at the top and the bottom and see that even with that mechanism in place, they look basically the same. And with the addition of a sensor and a timer block, we can see a demonstration of just how this might work. So the sensor is just set to detect a ship, and it will open the door as the ship's approaching, and the ship can fly right inside into the hangar, and you'll see the door can close behind the ship. And once that door is closed, at least to my eye, it doesn't look like a hangar door at all. It doesn't look like what you'd expect. Here we just have from a different angle so you can see a different view. And I have the door set to open fairly quickly, so it's pretty easy to get in and out. You can see it's a pretty fluid motion to fly the ship in and out. And it's not a wide space. You have to line up the ship correctly to be able to fit it in there. I mean, if you're not careful, you could crash, but it's not so tight that it's impossible to do. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the hangar door. It's one of the sneakier doors that I've built, and I hope you guys like it. And Miss Alex, I hope you like it. I know you were the one who requested a hidden hangar door, so here you are. Now we're just seeing the inside. I haven't built the interior of the hangar. Like I said, I got to a point where the frame rates were getting a little bit unmanageable at times, and so I had to stop. But you can see how, you know, we can maneuver in here, we can back up, we can fly out. It's wide enough that it's not unwieldy or too difficult to get in and out. So, and this isn't a huge small ship, but that's a silly thing to say, but it's a decent sized small ship. So I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and enjoyed the Let's Build an Oberon series in spite of it ending prematurely. And I sincerely hope I can circle back around and finish this ship at some point. But in the meantime, I will get back to smaller ships and the Void Corp series. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to see more, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.